Puerto Rico Special Edition Awaken Realms just dropped on GameFound, and I am here to review the campaign right this second. I'm going to go through the campaign. I also have some references right here in front of me to the last campaign in Castles of Burgundy, and we're going to kind of deduce on quality and try to relate some of the current 1897 Puerto Rico components to what could be in the Awaken Realms edition. If you have no idea what Puerto Rico is and you've never played it, I actually just dropped a video that goes through a lot of an overview and some reasons why you might want to try that thing out. Go check that video out if you have no idea what Puerto Rico is. This is not that video. This is just a campaign review. With all that said, let's get into it. This is the campaign here. We're a couple minutes in, already at 68K. This thing is probably going to rocket. This is a beloved game that it was a former BGG #1, currently ranked number 44. All right, let's take a look at this and see what we got. Oh yeah, currently ranked number 44 here. I mean, it's beautiful production here. But let's get into the details, and then we're going to flip back and forth to some real life examples of what that might look like. All right, so first off, special edition, $95. I believe that's pretty close to what the original special edition Castles of Burgundy was. There is a new standard edition, which I am pretty interested in. Spoiler alert, this might not be a game that you want completely crazy deluxeified, depending on your tastes. I think this game is significantly more divisive than the likes of Castles of Burgundy. So like I said, go watch that video. I'm stumping for that video. There's a little take that in Puerto Rico that you might not love. So first off, high quality dual layer boards. This is huge. I love dual layer boards no matter what. And in the instance of the game I've been playing in 1897, stuff is floating all over those boards. So this is actually great. Now the question is, what's the execution like on dual layer boards for Awaken Realms? I got you. So this is the example of an Awaken Realms dual layer board. It is beautiful, really great quality, nice thick cardboard, well executed. I think we'll probably get to the art a little bit more. Overall, the production on this thing was absolutely wonderful. I have no gripes with it whatsoever. And I do think a dual layer board is a great addition. And for an actual representation of what these boards look like and what you're upgrading to, you know, you just had stuff kind of slide all over these, you know. Nothing big, very thin cardboard. Dual layer boards are a huge upgrade. Now we're looking, we do have 10 portraits. I don't think this is new. These look very familiar. In fact, let's flip back to the board example that I have here. And as you can see, yeah, that's the same exact artwork here. So we're not, I thought I had saw that they were doing their own in-house Awaken Realms art. It looks like they are repurposing some of the art. I think there was some flack about some AI art possibly in the very beginning. So it looks like they've come back to the actual art from 1897, which is good. It's great art. It's absolutely wonderful. So this game board is a big upgrade because technically in 1897, there is not a game board. In fact, let me show you. So in 1897, we were looking at, you know, the rolls didn't have slots. They're just rolls. They actually look like the same exact art. I don't know if there's acrylic. Maybe we'll get to that. But these are how you select your actions here. And now there's a slot for all of them. They would just spread out on the table. It also looks like on that board, you'll have this trading house, which is where you sell goods to. That was just a kind of a floating component as well. The worker registry as well on there. Those did look like minis. I'm sure that's probably from the mini expansion, but just to show you, those are the components that would actually make up the board. But there was no board. It does look like the work office is on the board. Those minis are definitely have to be in the miniature expansion. And I think the ships do come standard in the core pledge. So we'll have to see about that. But I do like that there's slots. I do like that there's stuff not floating around. There's also estate slots there, which are kind of like the little farm pieces that produce your goods. Those would just kind of float on the table in a market as well. So it's just basically tidying it up a little bit, which I like. All right, next up is a plastic insert for the small buildings. This, for me, is probably one of the biggest quality of life improvements on this game. And let me show you why. So this is the building board. And as you can see, yeah, buildings are just going to slide all around. You have to stack a different number of buildings depending on the number of players. Needless to say, This is a huge improvement for sure. Having all of them slots. The one thing that I would wonder, depending on player count, the number of buildings change. Are you just removing buildings and throwing them to the side as you have a different player count, which isn't the end of the world. I think that's totally fine. I just said that the the building board and having the slots for them might be the best quality of life improvement. Maybe the building tiles will be, and we'll get to whether you choose acrylic or not. However, even in the cardboard, the building design is much better. First of all, the size is bigger, so that is really good. As we'll see in just a second, they're pretty small buildings. But also the biggest improvement is the building ability is actually printed on the building. I know there was some desire for that in Castles of Burgundy, which didn't happen. I think there might have been some way to do it, or maybe it was just on the cardboard version where they're actually printed on the other side. So I guess the question is, are the acrylic versions going to actually have the printing, which we'll get to? But those are the buildings there, you know, they're fine. The art is great, but you don't know what they do. On the back of the rule book, there's a reference to buildings that gives you a little bit of it, but it doesn't give you the details of it. So you still had to flip into actually the middle of the book for all of the base buildings in the 1897, at least, to know what exactly they do or get kind of the full interpretation. That wouldn't be able to be printed on the building tiles. I don't care how big they are. It's paragraph, heavy stuff there. It's certainly helpful. I think once you've gone through the game a couple times, or if you're an old veteran, you're just going to know what the buildings do anyways. But for the new player, maybe somebody that's being introduced to this the very first time, having it on the tile is a big quality of life improvement. Then we see the miniature buildings here. I believe it does give some sort of building miniatures available in the miniature expansion. I did not do the hex tile building miniatures for Castles of Burgundy. That's not something I wanted to house. They looked absolutely beautiful. I guess the equivalent would be, I did get the castles, so I can show you those. So here's a couple examples of the castles here. They're pretty dark, so you might not be able to see the detail. And as I show them off here, I got to get the right light. They're highly detailed. I mean, it's Awaken Realms. This is what they're known for. They have beautiful minis. You don't have to worry about that if that's something you want. For me, I'm not going there. I just don't have the space, frankly. And, I guess there's discussion on is this type of game something you want crazy deluxeified? That's up to you. They do have a new art style. I enjoyed the art in 1897. It does look like they repurposed some of it, but it looks like they're referencing the building tiles. It looks pretty equivalent. It doesn't look better or worse at all, and I like it. So it's fine. So these countryside tiles, I mean, these tiles need to be shuffled, and they are dealt out in a market. So you're essentially would be shuffling the actual tiles, dealing them out in a market, and then go and grabbing the equivalent countryside tile when you get it. I mean, it just seems like you're sorting through a box the whole time. There's no way I would actually want this. But like I said, to each his own. This is just not something I would go for. So the ships, well, first here, let's look at what a ship was. Pretty basic cardboard ship, stuff slides around on it. Yeah, it's totally fine, totally works, and that's a good, by the way. It was a little barrel. It's fine, but they overproduced these here big time. I'm here for them. I like them. I think they're cool, and they'll add to the game a little bit. You can slide the decks in and out because number of player count depends on the number of slots in each boat. So that is an important and probably a little bit of a cost saving measure by being able to slide those in and out instead of producing extra boats, which I'm totally fine with. These boxes are going to be big enough. In the standard edition, the cardboard is exactly the same. I think the art is a little less cluttered, which actually I like if you're going with the standard edition. The art is a little, especially with the steam and stuff. Here, we'll flip back. The art's just a little bit cluttered there on the back. I kind of stare at it and go what is that? Why is it all blurry there on the back end? But whatever, it's not a big deal. All right, and then there's the goods. I mean, these are beautiful, overproduced. I think adding them isn't going to hurt gameplay like the estate tiles would, but this is what you're going from. Pretty basic wood bits. So those are cool. And then the standard edition are just wood square crates, which makes sense. They'll still slot in. I guess they won't slot in. They'll be on a cardboard sliding around. There you go. Nice little animation there on what that's going to look like. You put in the specific slot numbers you need, and they slot right in nice and pretty. Totally unnecessary. This is a first world upgrade for sure. Worker miniatures are another one that I'm completely torn on here. I think they'd be nice. They're going to be super tiny. I mean, I guess I'll show you an equivalent. I guess I'll show you an equivalent miniature, I suppose, and the point markers for Castles of Burgundy, and they're wonderful. Highly detailed. The workers definitely should be smaller than this in the Puerto Rico worker miniatures, but they are able to get a significant amount of detail. The washing is pretty nice as well. If you want those, they're going to look good. It's just another thing to kind of dig out of a box. And you can see the standard edition has the same, basically the same exact tokens as the current 1897 edition. All right, metal coins. Let's talk some metal coins here. The standard edition gets cardboard. It's basically the same as what is in the current edition, but the metal coins nice. So current 1897 coin and the Castles of Burgundy coin, those are the differences. That's what you're paying for. I will say the Castles of Burgundy coins are nice. They are detailed. They're not particularly heavy. I wouldn't call them the best quality coin that I have ever seen, but they do slot nicely into an insert and fit nice and flat and are nice. Would I get the metal coins again? Absolutely. I'm a metal coin fiend, but just know that that's a bias. All right, then we have the expansions. They just give you some variety in the buildings and abilities and more combinations. They're great. There's also a Citizens expansion as well, which, to be honest, I have not played with yet, so I can't really comment on it. But all of that is in the current 1897 game. I think one distinction is in Castles of Burgundy, there were specific new expansions created. I don't think that's happening this time around. Oh yeah, and then there's the Smuggler and the Festival expansions as well, all of which in 1897. All right, so now we're on to the pledge tiers. Merchant Pledge is probably the thing that I had backed last time, which comes with a playmat. Hey, speaking of playmat, I happen to have one in front of you. I've been teasing you with that this whole time. It's been in the shot, and do I enjoy having this playmat? Yes. Do I enjoy storing it outside a giant box? Absolutely not. This thing just floats around my house, but it is the playmat I use the most. I absolutely use this playmat. Doesn't make any sort of difference in the game. No, not at all. I still have the main cardboard board and it would work just fine, but the quality on this is great. This is double-sided depending on player count, and you can see the vibrance in the colors. The artwork is absolutely beautiful. I think if you are a playmat fiend, you may want to think about it. I'm sure the colors are going to be vibrant. It's going to be beautiful. So the Merchant's Pledge, it looks like you're getting the core deluxeified special edition game that comes with the metal coins, and it comes with the goods and the ship. All of that is great. It actually looks like it's coming with the workers as well. You get that either way, which is awesome. And the acrylic tiles. Okay, let's talk about acrylic tiles. I did get the upgrade for acrylic tiles. Actually, when I was looking at this campaign, I thought they came with the core version, and I thought maybe I'd get away with $95 on this thing. No, of course, the acrylic tiles are an upgrade. Now, the question is, should I have upgraded those tiles? For me, yes. I think the tiles are great. I mean, they're not particularly heavy, but they just have this really nice tactile feel. They're beautiful. The artwork on them is heat transferred. It's really nice. I haven't had any quality problems, no chipping, no discoloration. All of the artwork is still intact. They are a high quality component. Will you be adding much in terms of adding those for the buildings? I think in Castles of Burgundy, these are sitting in little bags and they're drawn and you're constantly fiddling with them, where the buildings you're just picking them up off of a board and actually just sliding them in. So maybe kind of the tactile opportunity might not be there. Will I have FOMO if I don't get the acrylic tiles? Yes, I will. All right, then we have the standard pledge, $59. Standard pledge is basic. I believe you do get the dual layer boards, but all of the goods, the ships, all of that stuff really kind of looks pretty close to what the 1897 edition is right this second. And I definitely wouldn't recommend you pledging for that. This looks like this is probably going to be a wide retail release. You'll probably be able to find that thing absolutely everywhere and not have to pay shipping for it. So that's probably doesn't make a lot of sense to actually back this campaign for. But it is a totally legitimate choice, right? Like I think this is some people's game, and I think this is some people's every once in a while game. And if it's your every once in a while game, $59 for that standard edition, some dual layer boards, some quality of life upgrades with the building abilities printed on them is probably worth it. So the Puerto Rico 1897 edition, just the basic special edition, gets you all of the cool stuff, it looks like, minus acrylic tiles and playmat. All right, the landscape pledge is the wild pledge. That's if you want all the minis. That's if you want to store all this stuff. outside the box, kind of crazy. And then you have the Grande Pledge with looks like art books and stuff like that. That's not even something I'm going to even consider whatsoever. Okay, so that is the campaign review. I hope I could provide some value around how some of the quality of life upgrades will be important, how maybe some of the past production on the Castles of Burgundy might relate to the new campaign. The question is, should you back it? I don't know. I think the production looks beautiful. I think the quality of life upgrades are well worth it. Are the acrylic tiles needed and the playmat needed? Probably not. You'd probably have just a great time with the $95 edition. If this is a once in a while game, or if you've never played it before, you just don't have the space, the standard edition at 59 bucks looks great. If you're a psycho and you love acrylic tiles and playmats like myself, you're probably going to have to shell out the 150 bucks or so, plus shipping, of course. And shipping, it looked like to me, was $22. You'll have to check out to you how much that is going to be. The question is, does this game actually deserve it? I don't know. Go watch this video right now and find out.